Have you ever felt like your mind is a cluttered room, overflowing with worries, to-do lists, and endless noise? What if I told you the secret to clarity, peace, and even success isn't about adding more, but about letting go? Let's journey together into a story about emptying your mind. Imagine a small, quiet village nestled by a crystal-clear river, surrounded by lush, green mountains. In this village lived a young man named Cato. Cato was known for his restless spirit. He wanted to be the greatest painter the village had ever seen. He spent his days and nights practicing, his room filled with canvases, sketches, and half-empty paint tubes. Yet the more he tried, the more frustrated he became. His paintings felt stiff, lacking the life and soul he so desperately wanted to capture. His heart was heavy, his mind a tangled mess of self-doubt and ambition. He compared his work to every master he'd ever heard of, and each comparison was another stone weighing him down. He felt like he was trying to paint a beautiful landscape while looking through a dirty, cluttered window. One morning, after a sleepless night, Cato decided he couldn't take it anymore. He packed a small bag and walked out of the village, heading into the mountains, seeking something he couldn't name. He walked for hours until he stumbled upon a small, simple temple, almost hidden by ancient trees. An old monk was calmly sweeping fallen leaves in the temple courtyard. The monk, whose name was Ren, had eyes that held the wisdom of 1,000 seasons. He smiled gently as Cato approached. Seeing the turmoil in the young man's face, Ren didn't ask any questions. Instead, he simply said, "You look thirsty. Come, have some tea." Inside the temple, Ren prepared the tea with slow, deliberate movements. He took a beautiful, ornate cup and began to pour. Cato watched, his mind still racing with his frustrations. Ren poured, and soon the tea reached the brim of the cup. But he didn't stop. The hot tea began to spill over the sides, running onto the tray and then onto the floor. "Stop!" Cato cried out, surprised. "It's overflowing. No more will go in." Ren stopped pouring and looked at Cato, his gentle smile never leaving his face. "This cup," he said softly, "is like your mind. It is so full of your own ideas, your worries, and your ambitions that there is no room for anything new. You want to learn, you want to create, but you cannot receive anything more until you first empty your cup." Cato stared at the overflowing cup, and the monk's words echoed in his mind. Empty my cup? He had been so focused on filling his mind with techniques, with expectations, with the desire to be great, that he had left no space for inspiration to flow in. He had been trying to force creativity instead of allowing it to find him. For the next few weeks, Cato stayed at the temple. But Ren didn't teach him any new painting techniques. Instead, he taught Cato to meditate, to focus on his breath. He taught him to simply sit by the river and watch the water flow, without judgment, without thought. He taught him to walk through the forest and listen to the symphony of the birds and the rustling leaves. At first, Cato found it incredibly difficult. His mind would constantly wander back to his art, his failures, his impatience. But slowly, day by day, he learned to let those thoughts go, like leaves floating down the river. He learned to just be present. He was emptying his mind, not of his passion, but of the clutter that was suffocating it. One afternoon, as Cato was sitting under a large cherry blossom tree, a single petal drifted down and landed in his open palm. At that moment, he wasn't thinking about how to paint it. He wasn't thinking about color mixing or brush strokes. He was simply experiencing the petal, its delicate color, its soft texture, the gentle way it had fallen. For the first time in a long time, his mind was quiet. It was empty, but it wasn't a void. It was a vast, open space, filled with a sense of peace and connection to the world around him. In that stillness, an image bloomed in his mind, not a forced idea, but a gentle inspiration. It was a painting of the cherry blossom tree, not just its shape, but its feeling, its life, its quiet grace. He rushed back to the temple, not with frantic ambition, but with a calm, joyful energy. He found an old piece of parchment and a simple ink stick Wren had given him. He didn't think. He just allowed his hand to move, guided by the feeling he had experienced under the tree. The brush flowed across the paper, a dance of ink and emotion. When he was finished, he looked at his work. It was simple, yet it was more alive than anything he had ever painted. It captured the essence of the cherry blossom tree. He had finally painted not just what he saw, but what he felt. He showed the painting to Wren. The old monk looked at it for a long time, and looked at Cato. "You see," Wren said, "when your mind is empty, it is ready for everything." True creativity does not come from a mind that is full, but from a heart that is open. Cato returned to his village, but he was a changed man. His studio was no longer a place of stressful striving, but a sanctuary of peaceful creation. He still practiced diligently, but he no longer forced it. He would start each day with meditation, emptying his mind, connecting with the world around him. His paintings became renowned not for their technical perfection, but for the soul and life that shone through them. People said his art made them feel peace, that it was like looking into the heart of nature itself. Cato's story is a beautiful reminder for all of us. In our modern lives, we are constantly encouraged to do more, learn more, be more. We fill our minds to the brim with information, worries, and expectations. We become like Cato's overflowing teacup. But what if we took a moment each day to empty our minds? It doesn't mean becoming thoughtless or lazy. It means creating space. Space for peace, for clarity, for new ideas. Space to truly see the world around us. You can do this through meditation, by focusing on your breath. You can do it by taking a walk in nature without your phone. You can do it by simply sitting in silence for a few minutes and allowing your thoughts to drift by without holding on to them. When you empty your mind of the constant chatter, you start to hear a quieter, more profound wisdom. You connect with your intuition, your creativity, your true self. Like Cato, you'll find that the most beautiful things in life aren't forced, but are allowed to flow through you when you create the space to receive them. So I invite you today to find a moment to empty your cup. Let go of the need to control everything. Release the worries about the future and the regrets about the past. Just be here now. In that quiet, empty space, you might just find everything you've been looking for. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking and subscribing for more moments of reflection and inspiration. I'll see you in the next one.